guys, what's going on? Laying back for another Netflix review, and today I'm going to be talking about Hunger. Hunger is a Thai drama that tells the story of Oi, a cook who helps run her family's noodle restaurant but doesn't find much fulfillment in the job. In an effort to shake things up, she seeks out opportunities to branch out, and is eventually offered an opportunity to audition for a job at a fine dining restaurant offered by the famous Chef Paul. She earns the job, though it quickly ends up being more than she bargained for. Chef Paul is ruthless in his kitchen practices and frequently puts Oi through the ringer to prove her worth to him, and this leads Oi to question if she truly has what it takes to succeed in the career she's passionate about. This is definitely the best Thai film that I've seen on Netflix since I started reviewing movies on YouTube. It is flawed in some respects, but in general it remains an intensely riveting experience anchored by the chemistry of its lead characters, and provides a lot of food for thought on account of its richly detailed themes. Oi is an excellent protagonist because of how relatable she is as a person overall. She's the classic case of someone stuck in a rut and trying to find purpose in their life again, and her actress does a great job in the role of a woman who tries to turn things around only to be overwhelmed by the obstacles she faces. She faces doubt from the head chef, a number of her co-workers, and even from herself, at times wondering if she should even bother going on. She's stuck in a dilemma between being stuck where she wants to be and being stonewalled for where she wants to go. It's a feeling that happens to many people, including myself, and this helped me identify and sympathize with her as a result. As much as I enjoyed Oi though, her counterpart Chef Paul is easily the most interesting thing about this movie. He is a terrifying force to be reckoned with, as he verbally dismantles anyone who he feels is doing the slightest wrong by him, while also giving an intriguing explanation behind his philosophy. He reminded me a lot of Fletcher from the movie Whiplash for how he loses his temper, though in this movie's case, Paul feels more sinister. He doesn't just rage at people, but also psychologically breaks them down with surgical precision, which lends credence to his expertise as a detail-oriented chef who doesn't tolerate imperfection. I loved how the movie explored his backstory and how he came to his ideology. There's just enough detail given to highlight his motives without bogging the story in exposition, and he experiences his own share of setbacks in the story as well, which inject humanity into his character and makes him a lot more interesting. This leads to the dynamic between Oi and Paul, which is a fantastic example of taking the student master template and putting a new spin on it. Paul sees the potential in Oi as a worker and eventually opens up to her, but tests her resolve at every turn, while Oi is desperate to succeed in the opportunity given to her, but finds herself increasingly disenchanted with the process of it all. Both characters behave in realistic fashion. They have differing kinds of ego, with Oi wanting to step up her game as a chef, while Paul questions her motives and obstructs her progress under the guise of teaching. They have their own perspectives that clash with each other, which makes for great dramatic conflict. This being said, the relationship never comes off as purely antagonistic either, and this is what makes them so fascinating. Both of them connect purely on the basis of being passionate in what they do, and it's riveting to see them relate to each other while also challenging each other at the same time. They have a sort of frenemy aspect in place that kept me on the edge of my seat. Chef Paul commits ethically and even legally questionable acts in order to uphold his prestige, while Oi's humble upbringing puts her at odds with her mentor's methods. There's always some sort of compelling interaction with these two happening under the surface, and it makes the movie more suspenseful. All of their interactions tie into the movie's central theme beautifully. It explores the theme of passion and the drive for professional success that people hustle so much for, as well as the consequences that come with doing so. I love how the movie balances the perspectives of both Oi and Paul in this regard, right down to the names of the very restaurants that they manage. Oi represents a flame of determination in following her dreams, while Paul represents a craving and hunger in providing to his clientele for his own personal gain. The latter can also be applied to the customers Paul and Oi both service, in a different kind of way. Their supposed love for fine cuisine and stroking their own egos by hiring these top chefs results in their endless self-indulgence being highlighted for all to see. There's just a lot of great social commentary over how much people take something so necessary to life as food and elevate it to almost messianic levels of worship to flaunt their own money and status, even if it means impacting the environment and their own sense of self-worth in the process. And in this sense, I like that the movie uses a variety of settings to demonstrate this point. Chef Paul's services are hired by everyone from private parties filled with hedonism, hunting groups killing endangered animals, and big socialite gatherings where everyone toots their own horn. Chef Paul indulges himself in everyone else's self-indulgence, even humoring Oi's own aspirations, and it's fascinating to see. Not only does the variety of settings help with this, but so does the variety of the food itself. All of the recipes are prepared with different kinds of ingredients and usually with some kind of theme that emphasizes the ravenous nature of the people ordering this food, which remains in keeping with the main theme at large. Even the ways the food is cooked drew me into the movie's world. The cinematography did a great job of showing the attention to detail in cooking all the food, combined with slow motion editing that almost put me in a trance and made the food seem even better because of it. Speaking of slow, the movie is a tense experience because of its deliberately slow pacing. Much like one should savor a delicious main course, the movie allows tense moments to slowly boil over to a fever pitch, resulting in increasingly nail-biting tension building between Oi and Paul in a natural and gripping way. Some might complain that the movie is too slow, and it does drag a bit at times, but I think it adds to the realism of the story. It gives just enough time for Oi to try something new, realize that the reality of her dream is much less glamorous than anticipated, and tries to turn things around by going her own way, which brings about its own set of challenges. Now, I like the direction the movie is going once it does get closer to the ending and Oi and Paul really start to butt heads, but once the final sequence of events began to unfold, I found myself underwhelmed and wondered when things were going to get interesting, and it didn't really happen. The rest of the movie had this slow burn atmosphere that felt like it was about to boil over eventually, and then all of a sudden it just fizzled out. Character arcs became more predictable and felt like they wrapped up too neatly, which contrasts the variety and unpredictability of everything else that came beforehand. I was also a bit disappointed with how underused the supporting characters were in the story. There's a romance between Oi and a fellow cook in Paul's kitchen named Tun, and while it has a few key areas of importance, it ultimately didn't contribute all that much to the main story at hand. I also thought that for how slow the rest of the movie was, the other cooks in Paul's kitchen felt rushed in characterization. Their backstories were interesting enough, and I suppose the way they're treated is meant to reflect how ruthless Paul is, but I couldn't help but feel like wanting more from them, and how the movie could show more of how they looked up to Paul, as opposed to Paul looking down on them. In the end though, the movie is definitely more about Oi and Paul than anyone else, so I'm able to forgive the shortcomings of the other characters. It tells a great message about the dangers that can come with following your passion, trying to chase instant success, and the disenchantment that comes with it all. And the black and white morality between both lead characters' observations on this front is excellent. Overall, Hunger is a great slow burn drama that will leave you both satisfied and wanting more. If you like dramas that take time with building their story and characters, you would definitely enjoy checking this out. Some elements of the story and characterization are a bit iffy, but the rest of it is excellently paced, richly detailed with its themes, and features an excellent pair of main characters to carry the story. While it may not be as filling as it could be, this is definitely the most satisfying Thai film on Netflix to date. What did you think about this movie? Did you like how it explored its theme of passion through food, or were you a bit bored by its slow pacing? Let me know in the comments below. Anyways guys, that's going to wrap up my review of Hunger. Thanks for watching this video, I hope you enjoyed it, and as always stay tuned for the next part, where next time I review the Mexican action comedy, Queens on the Run. Bye bye!